What is going on? Welcome to Dharma Time here on WPSN99.com, the problem-solving network where we
stream solutions.
I see, it works so much better when you do it.
you see, you tried to catch me, didn't you?
I am the Dharma Guy, joined with Mr. The Dupe Doctor.
That's right.
What's up, man? It's been a long day.
It's been a long day.
It has been. And for those of you who are watching us via one of our media outlets, I'm going to assume YouTube probably, you see a different background, don't you? It's blue behind me now as opposed to our WPSN banner. That is because we've been on the go all day. This is our first our first Dharma Time on tour.
We've never done Dharma Time on tour. This is the first one, inaugural one.
This is the first one.
Yep.
We're I was about to say something kind of dirty, but I won't.
We're breaking ground. How about I say that?
Yeah, we'll call it that.
Yeah.
But anyway, so just a kind of a...
You were trying to do that.
I was.
Yeah.
So just to give you guys a heads up of what we were doing, right? So earlier today, we were on the Couch Live, which is another one on our network. And we were at UCF, and we were so by all means that'll be up on YouTube. I'm sure later on, maybe we'll see. Oh, that's right. Oh my gosh, our fantastic producer.
Wait a minute. I can't believe you just did that. Wait,
just have it.
It dogged me out. Listen,
I did. I just called you out.
I'm sorry to all the people that were expecting to see the Couch Live on tour from UCF, and it was a great show.
It was a great show.
There was a lot of good guests.
Yes.
We had some game shows, great giveaways. There's a little button.
Yeah.
It's called record.
Yeah. Apparently the red dot that says record wasn't enough because our lovely producer over here did not press the button. No. However, it is up on Facebook Live though. No. It is still up there. So.
Dude, that was a serious blend. And we just joked about it.
Yeah, I know.
Wasn't it on your show?
I don't even
Last
remember.
week?
I don't even remember. But it was such a good show, though.
Bad
we
karma,
did.
man.
But either way, regardless.
Whatever.
We were there all day at UCF. This is Drug Facts Week. And the Couch Live obviously deals with drug and alcohol-related issues.
Right.
And it was a good show, man.
It went out live, at least.
It did. It went out live. And so we were there. And that was in Orlando,
Right.
which is where I live. Obviously, our studio is in New Smyrna, but I live in Orlando. So UCF was a pretty easy drive for me.
Right.
And then after that, we came straight here.
Straight here.
So
Straight here.
we're at another one of our sponsors, and that's Retreat Premier Addiction Treatment Centers.
That's right.
And we are at the Palm Beach location.
Yeah, right here in Florida.
Yeah, man. It was very Palm Beachy with the blue behind me.
Yeah.
It was very beachy. I like it.
Right. They got two other facilities. They got one in Pennsylvania and one in Ohio.
Yeah. I think the one in Pennsylvania, isn't that the one with the big circular kind of sphere-looking thing?
Yeah.
I want to see that.
Yeah.
But anyways.
Too cold. I'm not going.
One of my favorite interviews is Tom Garofola, and he's from Retreat.
He's not here.
No, he's not here. I'm a little disappointed with that, to be honest with you.
Right.
But anyways, I digress. So we we had our road trip. It was like 2.5 hours or something. This is our fourth or fifth road trip, I think, together.
It's beautiful.
It is, man. We're bonding.
Yeah.
Actually, we did come up with some really cool stuff this time.
Of course.
So we got some.
We get productive.
We got some very interesting things rolling out for WPSN in the coming weeks. So make sure you guys stay tuned for that one. But anyway, so today's show, we were kind of like doing an impromptu show because obviously Tuesdays is Dharma Time.
Right.
But we did Couch Live earlier at UCF. We were like, hey, since we're going to be at one of our sponsors, why not do a show there?
Yeah.
And we called around, we asked for some guests, and everybody, hands down, said our guest, Maggie Hunt. Was the right one.
Who's been on the Couch Live, but never on Dharma Time.
Yes. And what I think is interesting, though, is everybody says, once they find out what the show is about, they all say,
right,
she's the perfect guest.
Why do you think that is, by the way?
I think she exudes it. I think that's what it is. I think she just exudes happiness, positivity, everything that when people think of spirituality or people who have it together spiritually,
right? I
think she exudes that, I believe. Anyway.
She must. I mean, she just must because, like you said, I mean, it's really incredible that everybody was, like that's the right person.
Well, what I also think is interesting is when people hear the word spirituality, there's like a common theme. You know, when I were to ask you, because I've done this before actually, back when I was doing groups, I would have some groups where I would ask people to tell me what is not spirituality. Like I would always start with the negative. What isn't spirituality? In other words, if a person is not spiritual, what kind of characteristics would that person have? And they were hands down almost always negative. They're always like
cursing out or something like that.
Well, just materialistic, not grounded, things of that nature.
Selfish, something like that.
And then I would say, okay, well, what is spiritual? So, what is this? If you think of somebody who's spiritual, what kind of characteristics? And they're all positive and good, and I don't know, like well-rounded, things of that nature. And so, I do think it's interesting that not everybody would consider themselves spiritual. Not everybody watches spiritual things. Not everybody makes a point of practicing spirituality.
Definitely not.
But yet, hands down, everybody agrees that it's a good thing. So I've always found that fascinating. That something that's universally thought of as being great, but not more people are excited in growing spiritually, which I think is very interesting. So, we for those of you who are watching, obviously Maggie's not here at the moment. A retreat has a very big event, which is why we're here in the first place.
Right.
There's a big event coming up from 7 to 9. It's like a Q&A session for drugs and alcohol. And so they had us come down. We're gonna hang out, check it out, and see what it's all about. But
for Drug and Alcohol Facts Week,
correct.
That's why.
Yeah. And so she's going to be participating. I think she's on the panel, I believe.
Right.
So she is running a little bit behind. We're going to try to get her on here before the show starts, but we figured we would kind of talk to you guys a little bit and let you know how the day's going and what we're doing before she gets here. Mm-hmm. I think we're accomplishing that goal.
Yeah.
But so I guess let's get started at least a little bit. Let's just jump right into. Oh, look at that! Oh, dude,
right on time.
Were you sitting outside listening?
Wow.
Because we literally just got done intro. We were going to stop for a minute, and then she comes walking in.
Yeah.
You are a pro.
Yep. Like right on cue. You were just bragging about it.
I was.
Right.
So, ladies and gentlemen, here is Maggie Hunt.
Maggie Hunt.
Welcome.
Thank
These are
you.
your headphones, and that is your microphone.
Yeah, and if you just want to move just a little bit closer to Trinity, it's all right. He's
get
not
you in
going to
the
bite
frame.
you. Just a little bit closer.
Oh.
Yeah.
No, you're good.
There you go.
Can you see me?
Yeah,
Okay.
perfect. Perfect.
Very cool. Well, welcome.
Thank you.
Well-
Now, did you just fly in?
This morning.
That's what I thought.
Wow. Are you normally in the Pennsylvania office?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
Yes, I flew in, and I barely slept last night.
Are your arms tired? You just flew in?
I know. Just flew in.
Oh, yeah, it was a cheat
Didn't-
Yeah, I know. I have the drum set, by the way.
Oh, you do
Yeah,
that?
I have the little drum set I got for Christmas. Anyway, so let me set up the show real quickly. So today's show is about staying positive in a negative world. And when we called ahead of time and spoke to Marissa and told her we wanted to do an impromptu Dharma Time, which is this show, we told her that, obviously the Couch Live is about drug and alcohol related issues, whereas Dharma Time is more about spirituality, being centered, peace, enlightenment, happiness, things of that nature. And hands down, everybody we spoke to said you were the perfect person.
Oh, wow, that's so nice.
So apparently that is the I don't know, the idea that you're putting out there in the world, and which I think is awesome, by the way. If you're going to be known for something, that's what you want to be known for.
Yes.
You're going to have to get close to that microphone now.
Oh, yes.
Yeah,
Yeah. No, I
absolutely.
agree. I think spirituality is an action word, though, too. So the more that you are putting action into it, the better off you're gonna be in that. That's what you put off as well.
Trini, you want to fix that for her? Because she looks like she's having to bend down for it or something.
We were just talking about that too, actually.
Yeah, of where it would be. There you go. A lot more comfortable,
We were
right?
just-
Is that better for you?
It's better.
All right.
We were
cool.
just mentioning actually that hands down, everybody deems spirituality as like a
Hey,
positive
come on in,
thing.
Peter.
Oh, right on.
He can come in.
We were just talking that hands down, people think spirituality is like a positive thing, but not more people want to grow spiritually.
Yeah.
So
That's right.
we just find that interesting. Anyways, so I know we're gonna make this quick because I know you guys got somewhere to be.
Right.
I was told you have a fantastic story. I was told that you've seen life, if you will, and then you've maintained a positive outlook throughout that. So just share briefly, I guess, if you're comfortable.
Yeah.
Just a little bit about your story, real quick, so we know why we're listening to you.
Yeah. So my name is Maggie. I'm a recovering alcoholic and drug addict. I'm coming up on 10 years sober this
That's
summer,
awesome.
which is like
Congratulations
insane.
for that one. That's so cool.
Even just to say it seems literally so unreal. Just because I feel like it was just yesterday that I was going through all of these things. So, I come from like a really nice family. I think that, drug addiction and alcoholism runs through my family,
Right.
hands down. I used to use with my dad, and things got really bad really quickly. I'm not a good drug addict though. Some people can like hold it together,
Right.
and they like go to school and like went to college and went to work.
Oh, wow.
I'm like totally unemployable, dropping out of school.
We call those the Michael Jordans of drug use,
I did pretty good.
right?
But I just,
You maintained.
to me, the laws would chase me out.
I used to be embarrassed that like I got sober so young, but I'm really just like, no, I was just really bad really quick, and like thank God.
That's a good thing to suck at, though.
Yeah, right?
Addiction is really good to suck
Yeah.
at.
Yeah.
If you're gonna suck at something, that's one.
Exactly.
Yeah. I suck at disease.
Yeah, I think, yeah. But I what I really think though, in talking about spirituality, for me, I grew up and God was always involved in our life.
Right.
Like my family was always super religious because we went to Catholic school and they went to church, but we learned a lot about like a personal relationship with God, which allowed me later on to just kind of like develop into however I wanted that to be.
Okay.
But yeah, I mean, like addiction definitely brought me to my knees. I in July of 2009, I overdosed, and was like hooked up to a life support breathing machine, and I had no idea, and I had no family and friends that there was to call anymore, except for my mom. Maybe one last shot at treatment. I went to treatment 10 times.
Wow.
That's not including like different attempts at maintenance or doing whatever I wanted to do. Yeah, and I was like the chronic relapser. And at the end of the road, I don't do homeless well either. In addition to not
I don't know of anybody that does that well.
No,
there's some experts out there. No. I beg to differ.
I like my things.
The people living on our property, Trinity, on the Now Matters More Foundation property, they're like, they
actually,
have like shelving.
That was like a beautiful place there.
That's like that's a little community.
Yeah.
So, the next question I had here, because I did an impromptu little list to keep us somewhat on track.
Keep me on track.
Well, him and I are bad at squirrel. So, the other thing I want to know as far as the story is concerned, I know for myself, I was involved in a lot of stuff I shouldn't have been involved in when I was younger, but I had a moment, right? I had a moment where I was like, I need better than this, where I finally was like, okay, I'm done. I need to get on a different path. Did you have that kind of a moment?
I did, and it's actually pretty ridiculous.
Oh, I love those ones.
So the last time that I got high with my friends, and luckily they called 911. I mean, they didn't just like leave me there. They called 911, and so I was in the hospital. And when I was there, my friend was driving around my car, and she fell asleep at a Wawa, and my car was being impounded. And for whatever reason,
was her in it?
Yeah.
Wow.
She fell asleep in the car. So she called me from the hospital because she was going to come pick me up. We were going to go get high again. That was the plan. And for whatever reason, her calling me and telling me that my car was being impounded at Wawa was like probably also the overdose that I had just come from.
That helped, yeah.
But I mean, even after the overdose, I was ready to go back out right away. But I think that her calling me, and I knew I had to call my mom. I knew I had to get out of this one. And I was just so tired of having to get myself out of every stupid situation that I put myself in. And from then on, I was like, well, I don't know if I'm going to stay sober, but like life right now is pretty uncomfortable. So, I mean, what else do I have to lose except for just to give it a chance? Because I can always go back to using. In Philadelphia, you don't need to have a drug dealer. You can literally walk on the street and you will go to a drug dealer. And then if that drug dealer's not there, there's always somebody else right down the block. So life just got better.
Well, I think it's interesting that you point that out, because that's one of the things I used to run groups in different treatment facilities. And one of the things I would say to people is, they would say, recovery's hard. I'd say, well, tell me your life leading up to this, because that sounds pretty hard to me. Like they forget that it's hard. But the next one here, I'm trying to stay to the list. We're doing pretty good today about staying on target, except for him hitting the record button. But
I hit it
today
for this show.
So, anyways, the next question I had was, all right. So you've obviously, you've seen life, you've seen the ups and downs of life, as with a lot of people. But I think what I find interesting is, once again, hands down, everybody said you were the right person. They said you're very positive, very upbeat. So my question is, how do you maintain that positive outlook? Because the name of today's show is Staying Positive in a Negative World. In today's world, it's easy to get caught up in negativity. It's easy if you listen to the news, if you listen to friends. My Facebook is full of it. Like, just everybody's complaining about stuff. Everybody's negative. Him and I always joke, one of the easiest conversations to start up is going to like a bar or something to start talking about your spouse. Next thing you know, everybody's like, they all complain. So how do you stay so positive in a negative world, essentially?
Well, I think that for me, helping other people really helps me to keep it green, and really helps me to realize like the things that I do have in this life. I think that getting sober for me, everything was like a means of gratitude. Like everything. I mean, when I got sober, I was 21 years old, so I never even had like a legal drink at a bar. I didn't know how to write a check. I didn't know how to pay bills. I didn't know how to do anything. And so ever since then, like life has just, and I don't know if maybe it's just my outlook on things. I'm not 100% sure. I know that like what my higher power and like is going to get me out of whatever situation it is. And I know that the better off that I am, like as a person, and like help others, the better off my life's going to be. I mean, like I especially recently, I've had a pretty strong foundation of spirituality, like just like I've kind of been like renewed in a way with a new relationship. And so I think that that really keeps me filled with joy. Seriously.
Yeah, once again, we echo that same thing. You can't fill from an empty cup.
No.
I think that's what people don't realize is part of staying positive, I would say, or staying, preventing yourself from falling into the negativity that people have out there, is maintaining like a good outlook and taking care of yourself. Like we're both a big proponent of that. Of you have to fill your cup. If we spend so much time doing things for other people, be it. We go to work and we do things for our bosses. We go home, we do things for our kids, we do things for our spouses. We go, no matter where we're at, we're typically doing something for somebody else.
Yes.
And so I think doing something for yourself is actually going to help you stay positive, essentially.
Yeah, I mean, even if you think about it on an airplane, when like the airplane's going down and everything, you have to put that mask on yourself before you put it on.
Is there anybody who hasn't heard that story
yet?
Self-care.
What?
That
story. Really happened to you?
No. Is there anybody who hasn't heard that analogy?
In other words, everybody uses it.
Yeah, I think that's a huge analogy.
Everybody it's perfect.
It is.
It really is a perfect
unless you've
analogy.
never been on an airplane. And then you're like, well, wait a minute. What does that mean?
Yeah.
Then
I don't want to be next to you because you're not gonna help.
Open the door.
Yeah.
Or I do want to be next to that person because they're going to help me first.
There you go.
The codependency. Help me first.
See, you're going to make me think of a squirrel. But see, now I'm thinking about that video I saw where the people all put the mask on wrong. There was a guy that the plane was suffering issues, and the guy put the mask on, and he was like Facebook Live in it or something. But he had it right here.
He was Facebook Living while the plane is
right.
Wow,
but he had it like a beak, so it wasn't covering
maybe
his
that's
nose.
Why the plane
was
maybe that's why the plane was experiencing turbulence, because he was Facebook Live.
But see, now you had me do it wrong.
Cause and effect.
You had me squirrel it.
No.
But you know what I want to know is, like, you said that recently that this changed. Was there a milestone? Was there something special that happened that kind of did that?
Yeah, it sounds funny. So my son, I put my son in Catholic school in Ephrata, Pennsylvania, only because I don't know if you guys have ever been to Ephrata, Pennsylvania. I'm from the Philadelphia area.
I can't even spell it.
Yeah. So there's a lot of I don't know, like there's a lot of poverty in certain areas, and like and so like I didn't want to put my son in that environment,
right.
So I was like, well, let me put him in a private school. So I put him in a private school, and he's making his first Holy Communion this year and his first penance, and the school was like, well, he has to go to mass every Sunday. And I was like, what? I don't want to go to mass every Sunday? Like, I don't even, whoa.
I'm Catholic. I only have to go twice a year.
Right.
But but there's a priest actually who is like Father John, who's the main guy there. And he talks to, like, the way that he has his homily, it's not about like Catholic, because like there's all this stuff about Catholicism. Listen, and I understand, and I agree and disagree with a lot of things within the church, but he talks about like just being a better person, and like what God is, and how I don't know, and so whatever reason I get this daily dose of it every Sunday now, and it has just changed my perspective, and I never would have thought that because I went to Catholic school.
It's different
and
now.
And I was like, oh
no, it's different now. It's changed because I go with my mom, and she's
What's a
Catholic.
homily?
It's changed.
like a gospel,
Okay.
right? See, I don't need. I'm bad. I'm like a Catholic.
I just told on myself a little bit there.
I'm bad.
English is my second language. I think we covered that on the first show.
I think it's like that. Like they read the gospel and then he does like a little speech.
Okay.
They explain it to you.
Yeah. I don't know.
You don't have to read the Bible when you're Catholic. They interpret it for you.
But I like never wanted to go to church because I just believe in like a personal relationship. I'm like, why do I have to go? God already loves me. Like, it's totally fine. But I think that just like the pattern of getting involved and seeing my son see God through a different perspective like that. I mean, like, you can't get anything better than that, Like,
so it's hard to hear good messages over and over again and not be thinking on a broader level.
I think she just hit on it. Like, that's what we were literally talking about when you walked in the door, and that is spirituality is such an important thing from so many people, and some define that as religion, some define that otherwise. Like, I myself am atheist, but I just consider myself spiritual. But the point is, I think what the people who are quote unquote successful in it, they all have the same thing in common, and that is daily practice.
Yeah.
Every single day you find a way of incorporating it into your life. And like, I know I would have, I used to do classes on it, and I would have so many people come to me, and they would get so fired up in the middle of the class. Oh, they're so inspired. And I'd see the same people maybe like, I don't know, 6 months later, 8 months later, and they're not as fired up. They're not as happy, and they don't practice their spirituality at all, whatever that was for them. And their answer to me is it doesn't work. I'm like, well, how do you know it doesn't work? Like, you stopped doing it. Mm-hmm. So like, there was always a trend there. Basically, is the more they said it didn't work, the more opportunities they missed to incorporate it into their life. It was like a perfect linear thing there. And so I always try to get them to see that. And, you know, you don't have to, some people go to church, obviously, and other people have Bibles that they read. Like, you know, nowadays with technology, man, there's so many apps that you can download. You have like a daily message or something like that. I just think that, I think that is so paramount. And so I'm not shocked, actually, to find that that's what people view you as, and to view now that you've figured out ways of incorporating it on an almost daily basis. Like, I'm not shocked in that at all. So we're getting ready to wrap up now, and I know you got to go, but I would say if you have any advice to people who are listening that maybe, you know, they're struggling, they're waking up every day, you know, they're irritated in life, they're upset, they're constantly finding ways or things to be angry about, whether it be politics, whether it be their job, whether it be even addiction, who knows what their life is like at the moment. And they're saying to me, yeah, that's nice and all. I like what you're saying, but you haven't seen my life. Like, you know, it's good for you, but I'm upset. You haven't dealt with my stuff. What would you say? What advice would you give to that person to kind of turn things around?
I mean, the first thing I would probably talk to them about is I would say, like, you know, have you tried to